Hello, everybody, and welcome to English Grammar with Ameya sir. And we are now going to start the last part of the unit 1.5, the necklace. We're talking about the 9th standard, the state board, Kumarbharati. And so far, we have studied that Matilda was unhappy with her lifestyle. She wanted the necklace to attend a party. She approached her friend who gave her the necklace, and unfortunately, much to her horror, what has happened is that she has lost the necklace, and now they are contemplating a replacement. And when I say they, I mean Matilda and her husband. Now remember that they are not rich guys, so they are going to have to really work hard in order to manage that replacement. So what happens and how is exactly the climax, we will find out soon. Well, if we complete this particular explanation, we finish the lesson well before time. We normally record the lecture for an hour. If we have enough time, we will study determiners today. I wish to revise the topic determiners. If we have time, we'll go ahead and study it, otherwise for the next class. And I believe that this is the last slide that we saw, and it is here that we stop. I told you that the word encircled in red is Palais Royal, and so I was looking for the silent S entries. Well, I recorded the lecture only 2 days ago and I've uploaded that, but I have not yet received entries for the silent S and also no entries for silent M. So you guys don't have to be silent. Give me examples of silent M and silent S. So far I have not received any entries. But anyway, you still have time. Today is the last lecture for this lesson. We're definitely going to finish it off. We'll try to spare some time for the topic determiners. So let's get started. I repeat that you should have your notepad and your textbook, everything, your writing material handy so that we can start. All right. So this was the slide, so we'll start with the next one, which is this. As usual, when I start reading, guys, make sure that you do nothing but you pay undivided attention. When I read it, you can read it with me. That will improve your fluency. Oh, by the way, talking of fluency, there is something interesting that I would like to share. I have received a lot of feedback, especially after I gave a clarification as to why I use only English to explain in the videos. I have received a lot of positive feedbacks that is the way it should be, even from some experienced teachers. So I'm really happy because I clearly remember in my feedback, or rather in my reaction to the feedback, I did mention that using Hindi or using Marathi will be okay as far as the explanation goes, but my second objective as a teacher will not be accomplished. That will not be fulfilled. The students then don't speak fluently because the teacher doesn't, himself or herself do that. So my intention is not just to make it as simple as possible, but at the same time make you accustomed to listening to everything in English. And I promise, I'll keep my promise that I will try to keep it as simple as possible. Okay, this I assure you of that. So let us continue, and this is the slide that we are going to start with today. I am going to now start reading it. So they begged the jeweler not to sell it for 3 days. Now remember, they made an arrangement with the jeweler. So if you remember the story, that they tried to find out a necklace that looked exactly like the one that they had lost. So they went from jeweler to jeweler until they finally found one which looked similar to the one they had lost. And so they begged the jeweler not to sell it for 3 days. So they said that we'll keep looking for the necklace in 3 days, but please don't. I'm sure they must have given some advance payment. They made an arrangement that he would take it back for 34,000 francs if the other necklace was found before the end of February. So guys, try to understand the arrangement here. They told the jeweler that we've just lost the necklace and there are chances that we find it back. Okay, we get it back. So if that happens, you will take this necklace back from us at 34,000 francs. Remember, they were going to pay 36,000 franc. If you remember, the jeweler originally had asked for 40,000, but then the negotiator brought it down to 36. And so they say that if we get, I repeat, let me come on cam for this. The arrangement is that should we get the old necklace, then you will take it back from us at 34,000 francs. So we'll bear that loss of a couple of thousand francs, but not that you will refuse to take it, because then what are we going to do with the two necklace? This is just a replacement that it's our fault. So they made the arrangement, and by the end of February, I think that's what we saw, by the end of February, if they were to get the old one, then they'll have this one purchased back by the jeweler. Loisel had 18,000 francs. Remember, I said this word can be Loisel or Loisel. You can make your own sound. It is a proper noun. He had 18,000 francs, which his father had left him. He would borrow the rest. So guys, I think they have half of what is required. 36 is to be paid, and he has 18,000 francs, which his father had left him, and he was going to borrow the remaining amount. And he did borrow. He gave notes, made ruinous agreements. Guys, ruinous means disastrous. He made agreements which were unfavorable, but there was no other alternative. They had to arrange the funds. So they made ruinous agreements. They dealt with every type of moneylender. Then he went to get the new necklace and laid down on the jeweler's counter 36,000 francs. Guys, this is very important for you not to forget that they're not rich. They know that they are going to have to work hard in order to manage this kind of money. I think there's only one meaning to note here, so I'm not going to pause. Let us continue, guys. You can pause the video to write down the meaning of ruinous. For the moment, I'll just simply continue. I'm reading the next part now. When Madame Loisel took the necklace back, Madame Forestier said coldly, "You should have returned it sooner. I might have needed it." Well, Madame Forestier does not know what has happened here. So she is just saying that you should have returned it sooner. I might have needed that. I just gave it to you because you needed it. But you should have returned it sooner. From then on, Madame Loisel knew the horrible life of the very poor. But she played her part heroically. Guys, this is what you have to learn from this character, Mathilde. She realizes that it is her fault that she lost the necklace, unfortunately. And she is now sure that she has to lead a life of a very poor woman. She will have to work. She'll have to wash dishes. She will have to wash clothes. She'll have to, provide services. And her husband maybe will have to work overtime in order to repay the loan. But she played her part heroically. Now this is again good English. How do you say that? She played her part heroically. So she did not give up. Again, something that we must learn. Yes, it was her fault. She said, now, okay, I will do whatever it takes. I'm happy. Okay, you all should learn that from her character. Let's get back. So, the dreadful debt. Guys, we talked about this word in the last lecture where you have a silent B. Debt. Imagine the word is D-E-T and not D-E-B-T. That's how you pronounce it, okay? You pronounce it as debt. She would pay it. They dismissed their maid. So, clearly this is called cost cutting, cost reduction. So, they dismissed their maid. She decided to do all the work herself. They changed their lodgings, and not just that. What did they do? They rented a garret under the roof. Now, what is it? That's an attic room. Here in India, you call it, You call it a loft. Something where you keep all your extra belongings. That's that kind of a room. It's a small room. In India, you call it the loft. There, they call it the attic. Okay, so they also gave that as rent. Someone could find accommodation there at a nominal monthly rent or something. So they are doing everything now in order to manage the expense here. Okay, is there anything else here to make a note of? Yes, But she played her part heroically. Make it exclamatory. Now again, heroically is the word, but you don't have any article here. So our answer is going to begin with the word how. Okay? How heroically did she play her part? Guys, what is important to learn here is we are using the word did because we have the past tense played. And because we used did, the played ed will change to the normal form play. This is something that you have to learn. I repeat, because we used did. And why did we use did? Because we have the word played here, which is suggestive of the past tense. So how heroically did she play? Now that played got transformed to play because we used did. And do not forget to end it with exclamatory mark. Well, that's a hilarious mistake. Some even scholars sometimes, out of carelessness, it happens that they make the exclamatory line. The answer is absolutely correct, and then they lose marks. Why? Because they don't put the exclamatory mark. They don't terminate the sentence with an exclamatory mark. Well, that's really sad. When you know the answer, you should make sure that you score. You get that full 1 mark that you deserve. Okay, so pay proper attention and have your presence of mind. If they ask you interrogative, you're going to terminate with a question mark. If it is assertive, plain statement, full stop. Exclamatory, you're going to put exclamation mark. Be careful. What else is here now? Is there anything else on this slide? Yes, there's one more. I might have needed it. Remember, Madam Forestier said this, that I might need it. I might have needed it. So modal auxiliary, the word is might, and it is suggestion that it's a possibility. Modal auxiliary of possibility. Again, guys, observe the spelling of auxiliary. It's auxiliary. Modal auxiliary of possibility. I might. It's a possibility. I might have needed it. Is there anything else? No, nothing more. Guys, for this one, I don't think you need a couple of minutes. So I'm going to give you just a minute for this, and I will restart after this minute. Enjoy the music. Make your notes in a minute. Alright then, your time is up, and I have no doubt that you have done the necessary things. Let us proceed to the next one. Again, as usual, I'm going to start reading it now. So give me your undivided attention. You are free to read it with me. Let's start. She came to know the drudgery of housework, the odious labors of the kitchen. She washed the dishes, the dirty linen. She carried the garbage down to the street every morning and carried up the water, stopping at each landing to catch her breath and dress like a commoner. She had to bargain at markets, quarrel, and face insults over every miserable soul. Guys, there are very nice things to study here. Let us first find out. These are now her daily chores. What did I say? These are now her daily chores. So she had to do what? She has to wash dishes. Then she had to wash the clothes. She had to carry the garbage down the lane. And she also carried up water. So she had to do all of these works. Very important also is that she had to be dressed like a commoner. Remember, we are talking about Mathilde, who always aspired to look great, to feel wanted by people, to be praised by people, to always wear something exquisite. So it is not going to be easy for her, and I'm sure you've put yourself in her shoes to understand that she probably will not be happy. But she is going to play her part heroically. She knows it is her fault, and so we should appreciate what she's doing. Wonderful indeed. Okay, so she's going to do everything. What else is there to study here? Drudgery. This word might be new for most people. Drudgery means a boring, dull, menial work. Now the word menial could be new. Menial is something, let me come on cam for this. The word menial means something that requires no skill, and that is why it doesn't get that respect. I repeat, what is the meaning of menial? Menial. Guys, be good students. Whenever you come across a new word, learn it with the pronunciation, learn it with what it means and how to use it. So how to use it is very clear. Okay, but the pronunciation is menial, and the meaning is something that does not require great skill, and that is why it does not fetch a lot of respect. Something like that is known as a menial work. So clearly you see she had to drag the garbage, she had to carry water, she had to wash the dishes, she had to wash the dirty linen. So she did all these household routine work, and clearly also dressed like a commoner. I hope you're clear with this. What else? There is another thing to study. So now this is a former French coin of low value. I want you to Wikipedia this, guys. You can go ahead and Wikipedia the small amount of money here. It's a unit used in France, but it's a former French coin. I don't think they use that anymore. Now, is there anything else to study here? Yeah, to catch her breath. What a lovely phrase. To catch her breath means to take rest after exertion. Guys, remember, she is doing all this work, so definitely she is exerting herself. Exerting. Again, the Z sound. Guys, we did talk about this. The Z sound. It's not exert. It's exert. The Z sound. Okay. So she, of course, is going to work hard now, and so there at times she had to take rest to catch her breath because of the exertion, the Z sound. Okay, the spelling is with the X, but it's not exertion, it is exertion. To catch a breath. Now I think we need a couple of minutes for this one. Is there anything else? No, nothing else. I am going to give you a couple of minutes. No, I think a minute should be fine again, simply because the up snaps, but nothing much to write. So a minute, and there you go, your time starts. I will join you again after the end of this minute. Okay, your time is up, and I'm sure you have done the needful. Time to proceed. As usual, I'm going to start reading now, so stop doing your work. Each month, they had to pay some loans, renew others, get more time. We are looking at 18,000 francs to be repaid, guys. So what they did each month was they repaid some, they had to renew some contracts, and they also had to add some more contracts. Her husband worked extra every evening. As I said, there was some overtime, doing accounts for a tradesman, and often late into the night. He sat copying a manuscript at 5 sous a page. Guys, again, going back to that monetary unit, so and so's. Okay, I believe the main word was sols, S-O-L-S, adopted from some name. You can Wikipedia and leave some comments upon this. Okay. And this life lasted 10 years. At the end of 10 years, They had paid off everything, even the interest. Guys, imagine how happy the couple must be. It took 10 years, and at the end of 10 years, finally they are done making the repayments along with the interest. Everything is settled, but it took 10 years. They could have done so many things for themselves during this period, but they are finally, you can imagine how relieved they must be that they finally did it. I'm sure the couple was very happy. And remember your assignment, try to find out more about that so thing. SOU, I think the main word is SOLS, derived from a name. You do the search, or rather research, and let me know. Going back to what we were studying, this life lasted 10 years. So making it negative, it's a very important question. You can mark this as important. And this life lasted 10 years. This life lasted for nothing less than 10 years. You can add the word and over here at the start, because you have this word and in the question. I have not done that, but you can do that. This life lasted for nothing less than 10 years. That means it's at least 10 years. That is one way of making it negative. And this is something interesting. I want everybody to pay proper attention at this one. Guys, there's always these jubilee celebrations. Because we had this reference of 10 years here, I thought we will also go through some important time passages and what they are called as. So what jubilee is celebrated, or what the occasion is called. The 25th anniversary is called a jubilee, a silver jubilee. 40th anniversary is the ruby jubilee. Guys, I'm sure this one is new for you. Silver jubilee, probably heard a lot of times. The 50th anniversary is the golden jubilee. Again, this is something that you must have heard. The 60th anniversary is the diamond jubilee. Now, as far as this is concerned, there is always a doubt. Some people think it's at 75. No, that's not the case. It is at 60. Diamond jubilee is the 60th anniversary. The 65th anniversary is a sapphire jubilee. Whatever I'm marking, whenever I'm marking something to the left, shows that I feel that might be it is new for you. The 70th anniversary is a platinum jubilee, and this is something, well, I've not covered 100 because that's century, 100 years, but the 150th anniversary is something that you should know. The word, and I'm going to make the sound here, the pronunciation, note it please. It is sesquicentenary. I repeat, it is sesquicentenary. Let me say that again. What did I just say? It is sesquicentenary. Sesquicentenary. That is what it is. Please bear in mind the spelling. Please study the word properly. Sesquicentenary. 150 years for something. And I think we're done with this slide. Yes, we are done with it. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes for this one, surely, because there are quite a few things to write. So take a couple of minutes and I will see you at the end of these couple of minutes. Your time starts now. Okay, under 10 seconds now. I'm sure by now you are done with what is required and your time is up. Okay, I'm sure there were a few new entries for you, especially sesquicentenary. I repeat, sesquicentenary. Sure, enjoy that. And let me know in the comments if you had heard of, if, well, let me know either way. Let me know if this was new for you, and also in case you've heard of this, well, there are chances that you've heard of it. Everything will not come something that you've heard for the first time. If you have heard of this before, then kindly let me know where you heard and in what reference. Let's proceed to the next one. We'll go to the next slide now. I'm done with this. Now, this is something, again, that is a feature of this lesson. I've been bringing this to you whenever there's an opportunity. There are names of places in France, and not just, let's not talk about the entire country, just the city of Paris. So here is one such example again in today's lecture. And because those are French terms, mind you, their pronunciation is something completely different than what the spelling is. So for example, in English, CHAMPS, you can clearly, you think that it is champs, is it not? But it's not. First of all, the CH here makes the sh sound. Yes, you heard me right. Sh sound. Just like Dum Sharaz, CH. Chandelier, sh, the sh sound, okay? Champagne, sh. So here also CH makes the sh sound, and it's Chores. Okay, Chores, something like that. Chores, and it's Elise, LAs or something like that. Mind-blowingly difficult, but you should Wikipedia this. Sean's, I'm going to try that. Sean's Elias or something like that. I am not quite sure. I am not a French expert. But all I am saying that don't just pronounce it as Champs Elisis as you see here. Okay? You are free to leave in the comments. But this is Sean's Ellis. Eli. The last S is also silent there in the second word. So it's Sean's Eli or L. Yeah, I'm sure I'm doing it the best I can. Anyone with French background, please correct me. I will only be happy. Let's start reading it, guys. Whoa. By the way, the pic is very interesting. The snap clearly shows, guys, that it's a busy street and it's known for the luxury shops, the cosmetics, fashion. It's a very busy street and it's quite an affluent area. Okay. Whatever it is, Chores, LA or something, whatever it is. Madame Loisel looked old now. Often she brooded over the past. What would have happened if she had not lost that necklace? How strange life is, how fickle. How little is needed for one to be ruined or saved. One Sunday, as she was walking in the LA's or whatever it is, suddenly she saw Madame Forestier, still young, still beautiful, still charming. So, brooded means thought deeply about the things that made her sad. She was wondering how life could have been different had she not lost that necklace. Well, even better, had she not even asked for it. Well, now she is thinking about it. So, brooded probably is new for you. Fickle is surely new for you. I don't think you've heard of this before because it was new for me, I'll be honest. Fickle means something that changes. Something that changes very quickly. Fickle. So, for example, life is fickle because happy moments, sad moments, happy moments. We talked about it the last time as well. Oh, by the way, talking of happy moments and sad moments, there is one particular comment about which I would like to share. I gave you the example of a pet dog and I said that what if unfortunately the pet dog dies, then should you be sad all your life? Well, some readers, are not readers, but some viewers actually thought that I am implying somehow that what happened is something good. Oh, hell no, that is sad. Absolutely. All I am saying is that the life doesn't stop. Unfortunate things happen, but my point was very different. My point was that in life there is more happiness than sadness. Sad, unfortunate things happen. They are beyond our control. If they were in our control, nothing bad ever could have happened. We wouldn't let anyone go. But then unfortunate things happen. But then life doesn't stop. That was the point. But then somehow the message was probably communicated like I'm not sensitive enough. Well, definitely bad if you lose the. I have experienced such a situation, but my point is we cannot stop being positive. We have to always move on. The life continues. That was the point there. And so here again, she brooded, thought about things. Had I not asked about the necklace, it would have been better. How quickly my life changed in one moment of carelessness. I repeat, in one moment of carelessness, I lost it, and now here I am after 10 years seeing this woman, and I had to work, toil and moil. I had to work very hard, and now it is time for me to probably tell her how I feel. So I think now she will tell Madame Forestier. If you have noticed, guys, this is the advantage of why I use a lot of English, or rather only English. See, during the explanation, there are so many phrases that often I repeat so that you know how to use them in a sentence. Doesn't matter sometimes if you are unable to comprehend them at the first go, but if you have this practice of listening to some good English, then you will build up your own language. That is my honest intention behind sticking to English. I would love to speak Hindi, Marathi just to get this explained, but that will not serve the purpose 100%. So sometimes if you have to just rewind, watch it twice or thrice, it's okay. But then you will, I promise you this, you will benefit. You will greatly benefit. Okay, let us go back to the slide. We were studying about this, and is there anything else? Is a grammar entry. Still young, still beautiful, still charming. That's a figures of speech climax. It's in the ascending order. So Mathilde looked at Madame Forestier and said, oh, she's still so young, still so beautiful, still so charming, because in the past 10 years, I have worked hard and lost some part of my beauty. And you know, in the women world, yeah, that's a pretty serious deal. Is there anything else? Well, nothing more. I'm going to give you a minute for this. Let's take 2 minutes for this. What I will also do within these 2 minutes is, guys, that I'll probably try to do some Wikipedia stuff myself for that Chores or whatever that place is. I'll try to find it for you. So 2 minutes for you from this slide, and your time starts now. Okay, 10 seconds. and your time is up. Okay, so guys, I did some work myself. Chores Elise. That's the best I got, and that's the best I can do, very honestly. You are welcome to tell me what it is, and if you can do it properly using the IPA, the phonetic alphabet, wonderful. Chores Elise is the best I got. Okay, and I've shown you the pic, how that lane actually looks. Let's proceed. I'm sure you're done with the needful, guys. Let us proceed to the next one. Now I will start reading it as usual. Give me your attention and start reading it with me. Madame Loisel felt emotional. Should she speak to her? Yes, of course. And now that she had paid, she would tell her all. Why not? She went up to her. Good morning, Jean. Now, guys, I pronounce this as Jean because that's the English pronunciation. Again, if you want the French sound, it is something else. But Jean is also the correct sound. So I'll stick to what is simpler. Good morning, Jean. The other, astonished to be addressed so familiarly by this common woman, did not recognize her. She stammered. Guys, before I read further, please pay attention. She was not recognized. Madame Forestier could not recognize Mathilde because of the passage of time, 10 years, and she worked so hard, so her appearance had changed. Continue. But madame, I don't know. You must have made a mistake. No, I am Mathilde Loisel. Her friend uttered a cry. Oh, my poor Mathilde, how you've changed. So clearly she's changed a lot, and I repeat this, that in the women world, it is a big deal. The appearance, the looking young, feeling rejuvenated is also important there. So I'm sure you appreciate that the significance of things here. So Madame Forestier said that you must have made some mistake because I'm sure you want somebody else. Finally, Mathilde revealed her identity, and then Forestier said, you have changed. Simply, I mean, I could not recognize who you are. Is there any grammar entry here? Yes, I am Mathilde Loisel. You'll have to make it negative. I am no one else but Mathilde Loisel. Guys, I am no one else but Mathilde Loisel. Now for this one, I'm going to take you to the notepad for the first time later. Okay, or rather, let's do it immediately. And I would not mind if you just copy that with me immediately. So what's the first one? Make negative. And the line I will consider is I am a teacher. And you will be, let's say, asked to make it negative. The reason I'm dealing with this statement, guys, is whenever students get this question, I am a teacher, inadvertently, they just end up writing, I am not a student. Well, if you say I am not a student, doesn't make you a teacher. That is not how you make this negative. So you will use the knowledge that I just shared with you in the slide. And so your answer will be, I am a teacher, which means I am no one but a teacher. You can say I'm no one else but a teacher. So now similarly, if the line is I am an engineer, will you say I'm not a doctor? Well, if you say I'm not a doctor, doesn't make you an engineer, sir. So I am an engineer. I am no one but an engineer. That is the way you will make it negative. I'm sure you've copied it. Make sure that you're copying this down. You can pause the video if you want. At the moment, I'm going to proceed with our slide. You can pause if you want. I am a teacher. I am no one but a teacher. That's it. On this slide then, is there anything else to be studied? Yes. Oh, now that is a parts of speech. That's a word class, is it not? So parts of speech. Identify the parts of speech. And oh, it's a strong emotion. So they are called interjections. Not injections, interjections. What are the other examples, guys, of interjections? You can use wow. You can say hurrah. You can say alas. You can say drat. Those strong emotional words are interjections. The difference between interjection and a complete exclamatory sentence is that for exclamatory sentence, it begins with either what or how. That's point number one. They have the exclamatory mark right at the end. So the sentence terminates with an exclamatory mark. For interjections, the words are so powerful that immediately after the word you have the exclamatory mark. So I'm sure that you understood this. Okay. Let's go to the slide. Let's see if there is anything more to study here. No, that's it. So this one will deserve a minute. I will give you a minute, and after that we will continue. Your time starts now. Okay guys, so your time is up, and hopefully you have made the necessary notes. Also, I have told you about this word Jean. You can leave in the comments what the French pronunciation for this name is. We are going to proceed. The next slide, I'm going to start reading now. Yes, I have had some hard times since I last saw you, and many miseries, and all because of you. Again guys, I would come on cam to share sincerely what I feel and why talking in English is important. I am again going to go back to the slide and read that sentence with some continuity and see that it does not happen if you are not accustomed to say these lines. I repeat, I'll now go back to the slide and I will read that line. Now you would notice when I read it, it comes out naturally because you are used to doing it. And you will also speak, really well, better than me. So the intention is to improve the English. That's why I stick to English. Listen to this properly. Let's go back. This is the point I made. I'm going to read that line, okay? Just pay attention. Look at the continuity here. Yes, I have had some hard times since I last saw you, and many miseries, and all because of you. See, there's an element of continuity, guys. You also will be able to speak such lines and sentences fluently and thoroughly well. Continue. Me, how can that be? So Madame Forestier doesn't know that how am I responsible for the miseries in your life? Then she says, you remember the diamond necklace that you lent me to wear to the ministry party? Again, the continuity. Let's do it. You remember the diamond necklace that you lent me to wear to the ministry party? Yes. Well, now why is there a question mark here? Because Madame Forestier is still thinking. So, I gave you the necklace, and so you think that me giving you the necklace brought you the misery? How's that? I was helping you, wasn't I? Well, I lost it. Now here is the thing. Well, I lost it. Guys, this one doesn't have any entries at all, and that is why there is no question of any countdown timer. Let's continue the story. I'm also, like you, interested in finding out how she thinks that Madame Forestier is responsible for the miseries in her life. What do you mean? You brought it back. I brought you back another exactly like it, and it has taken us 10 years to pay for it. It wasn't easy for us. We had very little, but at last it is over, and I am very glad. Again, if you have noticed the fluency and the way to read it. When you read fluently, you don't have to run for speed because what you read has to make sense. The other person should understand. But the element of fluency should be there. Let's do it one more time. What do you mean? You brought it back. I brought you back another exactly like it, and it has taken us 10 years to pay for it. It wasn't easy for us. We had very little, But at last it is over and I'm very glad. So finally, Mathilde is saying that it took us 10 years and all because of a tragedy. And now that we are done with all the repayments, now I can tell you that I had lost it. But now I'm glad that we have done our repayments. Is there anything to study here? Yes, you brought it back. Make it negative. Didn't you bring it back? Again, what is to be noticed is it's past tense. So you start with didn't. Guys, in the last lecture, I told you that when the word is didn't, the second D is not silent. The second D makes the sound. So it's not didn't. Observe again. It is not didn't. It is didn't. Okay, didn't. And because it is past tense, we used didn't. And because you used didn't, you change this word from past tense to the present tense. So brought was changed to bring. Didn't you bring it back? And do not forget something that I have shared in this lecture itself, that it's interrogative. So you made it with using didn't. You made it negative. You also made it interrogative. By the way, both the things are the same here. And you end it with a question mark. Did not is negative, guys. Did not. And also you made it interrogative. There is another question here, guys, which could be asked. You brought it back and it will be for change the voice. Let's go to the notepad for this one. You brought it back. And by the way, I hope you remember our discussion about this bring, brought, and buy, bought and bought difference that we had studied in one of the previous lectures. So the line that we are studying is you brought it back. You brought it back. And they will ask you to change the voice. So how will you do this? I've said it many a times. For change the voice, you look at the action. The action is brought. So you'll start with it. What happened? It what? It was brought, right? You brought it. It was brought back by you. Put the by part at the end. Said it many times. And you brought it. It was brought and not bought. Okay, I think you've made a note of it already because it's not a big sentence or something. Let us go back to the slide. Okay, we were here. And now let us see if there is anything else. Yes, there is. Make affirmative. It wasn't easy for us. It wasn't easy for us. It was difficult for us. So wasn't is was not. This is negative. So how did we make it affirmative? If it wasn't easy, that means it was difficult for us. Here there is a point to note. Some students, even scholars, go wrong here. That's why, caution. Whenever I come on cam, there's a point I want to make. It wasn't easy. Some students tend to write, when it's easy, they write the opposite of that as hard. So they say, it was hard for us. Hard is the opposite of soft. So technically, that is not the best answer. I'm sure you're getting what I'm saying here. So it wasn't easy for us means it was difficult for us. By easy, it means simple. By easy, it doesn't become soft, so that you can write hard. So don't write the answer as it was hard for us. Although, yeah, sure, it also means the same. I agree. But the better idea is that you say that it was difficult for us instead of saying it was hard for us, because technically, hard is the antonym of soft. I'm sure that you love this point. That's why listen to the lecture properly. I know it goes for an hour, but there are a lot of interesting things that we study during this hour if you listen intently, because 1 hour of complete English, that will bring about the desired improvement. Okay. Is there anything else before we start the countdown? Let's see. Yes, there's one more entry. Question tag. I am very glad. I am very glad, aren't I? And so many times I have discussed this, that you are not supposed to use the word ain't. A-I-N'-T, because it is informal. It's not considered standard English. When you write it, it is okay to use ain't when you speak. When you're casually speaking, even I use it. I have said it during, I think in this lecture, I might have used it. I ain't the first one to tell you this or something like that. It is okay when you use it, when you speak casually. But if you are writing something down, the more formal word, standard word is aren't. So I am very glad, aren't I? Of course, there is no point. There's no word like amn't. There's no scope for any creativity there. Aren't is the word. Okay, so I am very glad, aren't I? And why is she glad? Because the payment, repayment, everything is over. I'm sure that there are no more entries. Yes, guys, this will require only a minute. So I'm going to give you a minute for this, and I will continue after a minute. Please jot down. Okay, under 10 seconds now, guys. Time is up, and I have no doubt that you have done the needful. Let's proceed. Next slide. I'm going to read now. Pay attention. Madame Forestier was stunned. We have done this word previously, which means extremely shocked. She was stunned. You say that you bought a diamond necklace to replace mine? Again, fluency. Let's do it one more time. You say that you bought a diamond necklace to replace mine? Yes. You didn't notice then? They were very similar. And she smiled with proud and innocent pleasure. Proud and innocent pleasure. Now, here Mathilde is happy that look at my choice. So you did not even notice that it was a different necklace. She did not know what's coming up, guys. There is only one entry here. They were very similar. How similar they were. To be made exclamatory, you can mark this as important. And because you don't have article, we started with how. That is the point to note here. But I'm not going to give you a countdown for this. It's just one entry here. You can pause the video and then continue. For now, I'm going to take you straight to the climax. The lesson ends here, guys, now. The next one. Oh, there's one more entry. Hang on. There is an entry here. You say that you bought a diamond necklace to replace mine. They will ask you to identify the type of sentence, and it's interrogative. The point to note here for even the scholars, it's the spelling is with double R here. Double R. INTERRO. Interrogative. Okay, that's it. I still would suggest you pause it, because for the moment I'm just going to continue. The climax is coming up. Look at why Madame Forestier was stunned. By the way, we are all fans of Indian cinema. I'm sure that you can guess why Madame Forestier was so stunned. See if you are right. I'm going to read it now. See whether you thought of the same thing. Madame Forestier, deeply moved, took both her hands. Oh, my poor Mathilde, mine was an imitation. It was worth 500 francs at most. OMG, right? Absolute OMG, which is oh my God. So she said that my necklace was an imitation jewelry. It was not a real diamond necklace. And you actually bought a diamond necklace and you gave it back to me. My necklace was not worth anything more than 500 francs at most. If you remember, Mathilde's husband had given her 400 francs for her dress. And so you can imagine she just took her hands and, oh my poor Mathilde, Madame Forestier said. Oh my poor Mathilde, mine was not worth more than 500 francs at most. So you worked hard and you could have told me, but then you can understand that there was nothing to say at that time. What an end. And look at the credits, the writer. adapted from the necklace by again a French term. So this is Guy, okay? This is not Guy, this is Guy. Guy de Maupassant. Guy de Maupassant. That is how you say it. Guy de Maupassant. Now he's a very famous writer from France. Again, you can Wikipedia this. You're free to correct me in case you find that something else is a better sound. Guy de Maupassant. And I know this passant thing because I'm a chess player as well. So in chess you have this entry en passant. It's with the exact same ending. That's why I know this passant thing. And in my college days I studied a little French, but that was some while ago, and clearly I know French is quite tough, especially if you are not in touch with it. So that's it. The lesson is done, and thoroughly enjoyed presenting that to you. At the moment, very quickly, what I want to do, guys, is to take you to the determiners. We agreed that we will study determiners. We just have about 4 minutes left. So we are not going to deal with examples today. What we will do is determiners and their 5 types. So very quickly, let me take you to the notepad. Okay. Here it is. The notepad is ready. Take the heading as determiners. Okay. We are going to study determiners. We are going to only go through their types today, guys. So determiners, the first one, let's study them one by one. The first one is demonstratives. I repeat, the first one is demonstratives. So when I say demonstrative, the examples, this, these, I beg your pardon, those, that, I'm going to say etc. now, enough. The second one is numerals. So we are talking about numbers here. Simple number 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Even the ordinals. So first, second. Cardinals and ordinals. So cardinals are 1, 2, 3. Ordinals are the position. First, second, third. That's the difference. Then you have each. Then you have all. These are also numbers, and now etc. Enough of this. The next is articles. Now this is simple. An, the. For the fourth one, you have quantifiers. When I say quantifiers, I mean many, few, a bit. You can say much, enough, etc. I'll give you one, some, enough. And the last one, the fifth type you should study is possessive. When I say possessive, it's very simple, is it not? In possessives, you have my, her, his, their, your, etc. So guys, please make sure that you copy all of them, and I'm going to give you let's say how much, a couple of minutes. Not a couple of minutes, a minute is fine. Just 1 minute, okay, it's fine, just a minute. And by the way, through this minute I won't start the countdown timer, I'll just keep talking. There is some interesting homework. The homework is that you are required to write a letter to your best friend or your cousin who stays in some other city, trying to ask your friend or cousin how he is spending his time at home due to the COVID-19 thing. I'm sure you're done writing this, so let me come on cam, guys. What I'm saying is the homework for you is to write a letter to your friend or to your cousin. This is a nice activity, guys, and I'm sure there are jokes on teachers about this online, that there are teachers who will ask you to write essays on COVID-19. It's quite obvious. The logic is that you want to learn how to talk and use English as a communication, the medium of communication. But I'm not asking you to write an essay or something. The topic is related to COVID-19 pandemic, but treat it in a very fresh manner. Imagine that you are getting bored and ask your friend or your cousin who is in some other city, asking him or her how he or she is using the time. In what way is he investing or she investing the time? What new is he or she learning? What is helping them? How much of TV, how much of social media, the distribution of time, have they gained weight? What about their studies? You could ask those things. So this will be an informal letter, and you can send the entries to me as usual. You do it on WhatsApp or on email. Those who don't know my email, it is happeningameya@gmail.com. I will probably take you to the notepad for this. So here is the notepad. Let me share my email ID with you, because some students are very smart. You know, every time they'll grumble that, sir, we did not know this. Okay, so it's happeningameya@gmail.com. Happening and my name Ameya, no surname Vaidya there. happeningameya@gmail.com. That is my email ID. So now you have that excuse at least is out of the way. Do it, and we will bring this lecture to an end. By the way, we've just studied the types of determiners. Next time I will ask you an exercise. We'll go through some sentences and I'll ask you to identify the type and spot the determiner and state the type. Up until next time, please take care. Stay at home. Do not venture outside unnecessarily. We will meet again soon with another interesting chapter or maybe a poem, who knows. But until that time, take care. Bye-bye.